Please raise your right hand and be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, sir, have a seat. Chair, pull the chair as close to the microphone as you can. I'm going to ask you to speak into the microphone loud enough so that everybody can hear you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, go ahead and give us your full name.
Joseph Randolph Craig.
Okay. Mr. Craig, are you the brother of Mary Rice?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. Are you familiar with what was going on around the time frame of the murders in Milton?
I have a pretty good idea from what I've gathered from other people, the news, and
You heard about the murders in Milton?
yes, sir.
Okay. Down around that time frame, around the murders in Milton, did you have an occasion to become worried about Mary?
Somewhat, yes, sir. I had one of her friends text me that morning, asked me if I'd heard from her, that she might possibly be in some kind of trouble.
Okay.
Uh,
Let me ask you, before going on with that further, did you start looking for Mary?
I tried calling her, texting her, and pretty much trying to get a hold of her in any way I could.
Were you able to reach her at all?
No, sir. Her phone just rang and rang, then went to voicemail. All the texts went unanswered, and I couldn't get away from work to be able to go by her place to check on her.
Was that unusual for Mary?
No, sir. Usually whenever I text her, within about 20, 30 minutes or so, she'd usually text me back.
So it was unusual for you not to be able to reach her?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was Mary very active on the phone typically?
Yes, sir. The trailer she stayed in, inside, it was hard to get anybody to get a signal. But she'd take her phone outside every so often to catch up on text messages, missed calls, anything like that.
Okay. Now, how exhaustive was your search for her? What did you do?
After that day, I learned everything that happened. I called just about everybody I knew, put a message up on Facebook to all my friends, pretty much tried everything in my power that I could to get a hold of anybody to give me any kind of information.
Okay. Now, did you know Billy Boyette?
I didn't know him very well, but yes, sir, I did know him.
Okay. And can you give us a description of him as to, number one, how big was he? How much did he weigh?
I'd probably say I know at least over 200.
Okay. And about how tall was he?
I really couldn't tell you that.
Okay. But he was over 200 pounds.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He was a big boy.
All right. During the whole time when she was gone after those murders in Milton, did you receive any phone calls or texts or anything from her?
No, sir, and that worried me the most.
Okay. I understand that you and she during that time had just had a spat.
Yes, sir. It was more of just a. We were aggravated with each other, or I was aggravated with her at the time, and if she called me needing something, I'd go help her, but otherwise I'd just pretty much try to stay away a little bit.
What do you do for a living?
I work heavy equipment.
Okay. Is it true that Mary was fixing her house up?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
And that's one of the things I'd go over there and help her with.
Okay. So you helped her do some of the fix-ups over there?
Yes, sir. I helped her with electrical, plumbing, some carpentry. Pretty much if it needed to be done, me and any of her friends come over and try to help her out without having to call a contractor and spend all kinds of money.
Okay. Was she on her own over there at the trailer?
Pretty much, yes, sir.
Living by herself? Okay. Do you know whether or not she took in other people in her trailer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, she'd always have a friend of hers over that needed a place to stay, or if they were on hard times, they'd crash or whatever. She was always helping somebody out.
Okay. I've got no further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Jensen?
Good morning.
Prior to people alerting you about Mary, when was the last time you had spoken to her, talked to her?
I think it was a couple days before.
Okay. Was it possible that it was a week to a week and a half before?
It very well could have been.
Okay. And you said that you met Billy Boyette. You actually met him over at Mary's house, did you not?
Yes, ma'am. I walked in at one point, and she had introduced me to him, and I recognized who he was, said hi, but I was there for another reason.
Yes, sir.
So usually I'll come in, she'll
Listen.
introduce me to somebody, and I won't really pay attention to them. I'll deal with Mary, what I have to do, and I'll try to get out of there because usually I'm in a hurry to get somewhere.
I understand. That was a really long answer. My question was, you've met Billy Boyette before, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was at Mary's home.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember when that was in relation to the Milton homicides?
Not at this time, ma'am.
Okay, if I showed you a copy of, well, do you remember giving a deposition in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if I showed you a copy of your deposition, pages 9 through 10, do you think that would help refresh your memory of when you saw him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Judge, may I approach?
You may.
Mr. Craig, if you'll just, you don't have to read it out loud, just read it to yourself, the bottom of page 9 up through page 10. I know it's been a while. Does that help? Does that help refresh your memory as to the time frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When was it that you remember seeing Billy over at Mary's house?
It was a few days before all this started happening.
Before the Milton murders?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, you were talking about fixing Mary's house up. It was in pretty bad shape, would you agree?
It looked that way, but really it wasn't.
Okay, were there like holes in the floor? And
No, ma'am.
There weren't? Okay.
The only hole I knew of in the floor was in her room, but she had it covered to where nobody would fall through or anything else.
Yes, sir. And Mary's always trying to help people out, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Had anyone who needed help, she would offer up her home, the little trailer in the back, whatever she could do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think you said that she always had someone over there.
Most of the time, yes, ma'am.
Okay. At this time frame, when you were concerned about your sister, and you were calling and calling and calling, if you had gotten a text or anything from her that she needed help, would you have called and helped her?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you have called the law?
I guess I would have to say it depended on the situation, how I could help her.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. You knew that SWAT and the police came to her house, did you not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was down the road whenever they broke into her house.
Yes, sir. So they're obviously looking for Boyette, her, whoever. You don't think it would have been a good idea to call them if you had information that could help her?
If I had information that could help her, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If I could have had a chance to get her away from him without her getting involved with the police, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Okay, I got you. That was my question. I mean, she's your sister. She's your sister, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You love her.
Yes, ma'am.
And if she had reached out to you for help, you would have helped her however you could have.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have one question for you, and I apologize. Mr. Craig, have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
2.
Thank you very much.
Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, can this witness be excused?
He can.
Sir, you can step down here now, excused.
Okay.
Defense calls Tara Freeman.
You can have a seat, you're still under oath.
previously testified, and she is still under oath, okay?
Ms. Capps, I have a couple more questions for you. When you went through the house, you mentioned that there was a crock pot that was still on. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that would have been, you were there when these photographs were taken back in February of 2013, or February 13th, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be able to recognize that crock pot if you saw it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, approach it.
Amen.
That's it.
Okay. So this is the crock pot that you actually saw when you were going through the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions, Judge.
Any cross-examination?
Just so we're clear, that picture was taken February 13th, 2017, correct?
I know it was taken in February. I'm not sure of exactly the date, but yes, it was taken in February.
Mr. Brooks was there
Yes, he
taking the
was.
pictures.
Yes.
Would you stipulate that it was February 13th?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, the state of the defense will stipulate it was February 13th, 2017.
Okay. All right, and you're gonna introduce this as defense one, all right? Defendant's exhibit one will be admitted into evidence. Okay, any other questions of this witness? No,